These are 198 facts you were never taught in school. Not because they're false, but because they don't fit the system. And if you make it to the end, you won't just know more, you'll think differently than 99% of people who never made it this far.
So many questions. Why is the world spinning? Why is the moon keeping its orbit? Can rockets fly backwards? The facts you didn't know you needed. The Useless Show.
In one corner of the world, dancing to the national anthem can actually get you in trouble. In Massachusetts, they made it against the law to use the Star-Spangled Banner as dance music. So, next time you hear it, just stand tall. No twirling or breakdancing allowed, or you might break more than just moves. Cleopatra, the famous queen of Egypt with all that drama and glamour, wasn't even Egyptian. She was actually part of a Greek family that ruled Egypt long after Alexander the Great. So, while she ruled the land of pyramids, her roots were far from the Nile. Wild, right? Egypt's queen wasn't really from Egypt. Way back in football's early days, fields looked totally different. They weren't just marked like now. They had lines going across and down like a big giant waffle. That's why it started getting called a gridiron. Imagine running touchdowns across something that looked like your breakfast table. No wonder it was a messy game. There are two capitals in the world named after American presidents. You already know about Washington, the main one. But far away in Africa, there's a city named Monrovia, after President James Monroe. It's the capital of Liberia and a living reminder that presidential names can go global in the most unexpected ways. You think email spam is bad? Imagine getting random ads through a telegraph. That actually happened in the 1800s when the first spam message was sent over those clicking wires. So, even in a world without screens, people still found ways to be annoying. Spam has been trolling us longer than you'd think. Vinegar might just look like something sour for your salad, but it's got secret superpowers. If you drop a real pearl into vinegar and leave it there, it can actually dissolve the pearl completely. Imagine something strong and precious, like a pearl vanishing into liquid. Nothing just from a kitchen ingredient. That's chemistry magic. Queen Isabella of Spain, the one who helped Columbus sail across the ocean, had a seriously wild personal habit. She said she only bathed twice in her whole life. Not twice a week. Twice. Ever. Imagine ruling a kingdom, discovering new worlds, and still skipping out on showers. Her perfume must have done overtime. There was once a man who hiccuped and just couldn't stop. His hiccups lasted nearly a lifetime. Over 60 years. Can you even imagine trying to eat, talk, or sleep while your body kept jumping all the time? Doctors tried everything, but those stubborn hiccups refused to leave until he finally did. Lightning isn't just bright and loud. It's hotter than you'd ever believe. A single bolt can be 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. That flash in the sky might look quick, but it's like a fire dragon breathing out a silent, scorching blast that could toast anything in its path. Deep, deep down in the ocean, there's a place so crushed by water that it's like stacking 50 huge airplanes on top of your head. That's how heavy the pressure is. If a person went down there without protection, they'd be flattened like a pancake. The ocean hides monsters, and not the swimming kind. The sun has a crazy future ahead. In about 8 billion years, it's going to puff up huge and glow thousands of times brighter than it does now. It'll be so big it might swallow nearby planets. It's like your tiny campfire suddenly turning into a wild dragon that lights up everything. One time, the state of Alabama needed a bridge but didn't have enough money. So guess what they did? They sold roosters. Like an auction, but with chickens. And people actually showed up, bought birds, and helped pay for a real bridge. That's probably the only bridge built with the power of clucks. There used to be a law that allowed the government to isolate people who had been in contact with aliens, not foreign travelers. Real extraterrestrial aliens. Just imagine being locked away because someone thought you'd chatted with creatures from space. That's some science fiction level paranoia turned into actual law. There are highways you can drive on and never know they're special. Over 20 hidden roads in America are part of the secret interstate system. They look normal, no signs saying anything special, but they're part of a secret backup network. It's like secret passages in a spy movie, but for cars. There's a tiny bug called an aphid that's born ready to be a mom. No dating, no waiting. They arrive already pregnant. It's like being handed a baby the moment you're born. talk about multitasking. Nature really took the phrase getting ahead in life and turned it into something super weird. In the United Kingdom, if you act weird while holding a salmon, like sneaking around or looking suspicious, you're actually breaking the law. Yep, suspicious salmon behavior is illegal. So if you're ever in London with a fish in your hand, don't look shady, or you might get reeled in by the cops. Still in the United Kingdom, there's another law that bans annoying games in the street. That means if you and your friends are out there playing something too noisy or silly, the police can step in. Looks like even fun has rules, especially if it gets on someone's nerves. Back in the day, people played tennis without rackets. They just used their bare hands to hit the ball. Imagine smacking a tennis ball over the net with nothing but your palms. Ouch! That's how the game started before someone got smart and invented rackets. Hands took the hits so we didn't have to. You'd think lemons are super sour and have less sugar than sweet strawberries, right? Nope. Lemons actually have more sugar hidden inside them. It's just that the sour punch of the acid tricks your tongue. So behind that face-scrunching taste, there's a secret sugar party going on. There was a study in Italy that said eating pizza once a week could help lower your chances of certain cancers like mouth or colon cancer. But scientists quickly jumped in saying, "Hold up, we don't know if it's really the pizza." Still, it gives you a delicious excuse for another slice. Most of the green stuff on our planet isn't on land, it's in the ocean. Over 3/4 of all plant life lives underwater. So next time you think of plants, don't just imagine forests and gardens. Think seaweed, ocean algae, and green fields dancing in deep blue silence. In Melbourne, Australia, trees got email addresses so people could report falling branches. But something unexpected happened. Locals started writing love letters to the trees instead. Messages like, "You're so attractive, tree," filled the inboxes. Trees became local celebrities, quietly standing tall and blushing green under all that affection. In the Netherlands, animals get their own special roads too. Engineers built over 600 tiny tunnels under highways, just so animals like badgers and frogs can cross safely. It's like nature has VIP access routes with no speeding cars to worry about. Even wildlife deserves a peaceful morning commute. The Hawaiian alphabet is super simple. It only has 13 letters. That's it. Just a small handful to make all those beautiful words and names you hear in Hawaiian songs and stories. It's like the language runs on minimalist magic. Less letters, more aloha. Tea isn't just a drink, it's a whole world. There are thousands of different types of tea out there, each with its own flavor, story, and tradition. From bold black to flowery jasmine, every sip tells a tale. So if someone says all tea tastes the same, they've clearly never taken a proper tea tour. A lobster's blood starts out clear, like water. But the moment it touches oxygen, it turns bright blue, like magic happening inside a seafood superhero. It's nature's version of mood rings, where air changes everything. So the next time you see a lobster, know that beneath that tough shell is a secret of color. During a festival in China, people light paper lanterns that float like glowing dreams into the sky. But long ago, they didn't just use paper. Ancient folks actually caught fireflies, placed them in little cages, and used their glowing bodies to light the night. Nature's flashlight. Tiny bugs lighting up people's hopes and wishes. Reindeer have a surprising favorite snack. Bananas. Not moss, not twigs. Bananas. Just imagine a bunch of these majestic antlered creatures happily munching yellow fruit like they're in a jungle buffet instead of the icy north. Turns out, even wild animals can crave something sweet and tropical when given the chance. There was once a chicken that took off and flapped its wings like a champ for 13 full seconds. It might not sound long, but for a bird that usually just hops and runs, that's like flying to the moon. Chickens, part bird, part sprinter, part unexpected aviator. Birds can't just tilt their heads back and gulp like we can. They actually need gravity to swallow. That's why they tilt their heads upward when drinking water. It's like nature gave them a little instruction manual. Drink, then look up. Simple, but genius. And now, you'll never unsee it. The letter E is the king of the alphabet castle. Out of all the letters, E shows up the most in words. It's everywhere. Like the popular kid in school who somehow ends up in every group project, spelling bee and crossword puzzle. You just can't write anything long without inviting a E. The most common languages spoken across the world aren't just big, they dominate entire continents. Mandarin Chinese, Spanish, and English lead the pack. So, if you're trying to talk to most of the world, learning any of those will open way more doors than you'd expect. It's like having a universal passcode. When pyramids were rising in Egypt, big hairy elephants called woolly mammoths still walked the earth. That's right. These furry giants weren't just ancient. They were pyramid-era creatures. History isn't always in straight lines. Sometimes, timelines overlap in ways that make you question everything you thought you knew. Sub only if you want to be the smartest one in your group chat next week. Queen Elizabeth, before she wore her crown and waved from balconies, actually learned how to fix cars. As a teenager, she got her hands greasy, learning how to change tires and repair engines. A real-life princess who could pop a hood and handle a wrench like a boss. Royal and resourceful. Egypt may be famous for pyramids, but guess who's got even more? Peru. That's right, the land of llamas, mountains, and mysterious ruins has more pyramid structures than Egypt. It's like finding out your quiet cousin has a bigger video game collection than your gamer friend. Unexpected and totally cool. Germany gave the world more than bratwurst and beer. It gave us Christmas trees. The tradition of bringing a tree inside and decorating it with lights and joy started there. It spread across the world, turning living rooms into sparkling forests and giving December that magical pine-scented charm we all love. You'd think sharks are terrifying, right? But more people are hurt or killed each year by falling coconuts than by shark attacks. Yup. It's not the deep-sea monster, but the innocent-looking palm tree nut that's secretly more dangerous. Watch your head next time you nap under a coconut tree. The game Monopoly started out round, not square, not rectangle. Round. That's right, the first design was circular, like a pizza. Imagine rolling dice and circling around the board like planets orbiting a sun. Somewhere along the way, they squared it off. But the original shape was pure gaming rebellion. Lightning crashes into Earth constantly, over 100 times every second. It's not a rare surprise. It's a non-stop natural light show happening all the time. Somewhere on this planet, right now, the sky just zapped the ground with a flash of power. The Earth is constantly under nature's electric finger. Being left-handed is tough sometimes, especially in a right-handed world. Every year, thousands of lefties accidentally hurt themselves using tools and gadgets made for right-handed people. From can openers to scissors, it's a world that literally isn't built for them. And sometimes, the price of that mismatch is more than just a nicked finger. Gorillas are the kings of nap time. These massive animals sleep for about 14 hours a day. That's more than half the day spent in dreamy jungle snoozes. Maybe that's their secret to being so chill and strong. Less drama, more naps. Sounds like a pretty solid life strategy, honestly. Ladders have been around since cavemen days. People back then painted pictures of folks climbing up long ladders to steal honey from wild bees. So next time you climb one, to fix a bulb, just remember, 10,000 years ago, someone else did it for honey. Different goals, same tools. Snakes have stomach acid so powerful it can melt bones and teeth like butter. But here's the twist. It can't digest fur or hair. So when they swallow something furry, that fuzz just sticks around. Nature's way of saying, you can eat almost everything, but there are limits even for snakes. Race car is a word that plays mind tricks. Spell it backward. It still says race car. It's one of those rare words that's the same in both directions. A palindrome with style and speed. Makes you wonder if race cars themselves are built to be as symmetrical and wild as the word. You'd expect camels to be the kings of surviving without water, but guess who beats them? Giraffes. These tall, elegant creatures can go even longer without a drink. While camels get the credit, giraffes are the real hydration legends of the animal world. Quiet achievers with necks that touch the sky. Believe it or not, you use more energy when you're asleep than when you're just sitting and watching TV. While your body looks still in bed, your brain's doing deep work. Processing, healing, cleaning. It's like sleep is the overnight crew running full speed behind the scenes while TV time just slows things down. There's a word that starts and ends with the same exact 3 letters. Underground. U-N-D at the front. U-N-D at the end. It's a rare and funky twist in English. Say it slow and see if you notice. It's a little word sandwich hiding in plain sight every time you hop on a subway. Your left hand is doing more than you think. Over half of all your typing is done using your left hand alone. The keyboard layout makes it so the left side does most of the heavy lifting. Your right hand might click the mouse, but your left hand runs the keys. Many twins don't just share looks, they sometimes invent their own language. No one else understands it. They create secret sounds, made up words, and have full conversations without anyone knowing what's going on. It's like having your own personal decoder ring, built into your brain from birth. Twins aren't just siblings, they're born allies. For every person you've ever met, there are hundreds of millions of insects crawling, buzzing, or hiding somewhere nearby. They outnumber us like a massive secret army. Imagine a world where bugs rule and you're just a guest in their kingdom. We think we run Earth, but they've had the numbers all along. Your comfy bed isn't as lonely as you think. It's packed with billions of tiny dust mites, so small you can't see them, but they're there, living their best lives. These little creatures love warmth, fabric, and your dead skin cells. It's like a dust mite city where the mattress is their capital. Iguanas may look chill, but underwater they're like little green submarines. They can stay down there without coming up for air for almost half an hour. Just imagine chilling beneath a river rock, holding your breath like a yoga master while fish swim by. That's how an iguana does deep relaxation. Some birds just can't move in reverse, and emus are one of them. No matter how hard they try, they can't walk backward. They're built for forward momentum only. So if an emu gets cornered, it's turning around and marching ahead like a boss. Life lesson? Just like emus, keep moving forward. The Eiffel Tower isn't just a pretty face. It's held together with over 2 million rivets. That's like someone took metal buttons and stitched the whole tower together by hand. Each rivet is like a little handshake, locking pieces in place to keep the iron giant standing tall through storms and sunshine. There's one moment where two worlds of cold agree completely. When it gets so cold that Fahrenheit and Celsius finally shake hands, they both say it's 40 degrees below zero. No difference, no argument, just pure, bone-freezing cold. That's the one time both temperature scales stop fighting and freeze together. John Tyler wasn't just a U.S. president. He was a family man on a whole different level. He had a total of 15 kids, and his youngest was born when he was already 70. Imagine being in grandpa mode but still changing diapers. That's some presidential energy right there. Dolphins can do all sorts of cool tricks, talk to each other with clicks, and swim like torpedoes. But they have one flaw. They can't smell. Zero sniffing power. So if a fish smells funny, a dolphin won't know. They live in a world of sound, sight, and movement, not scent. Charlie Chaplin, the silent film legend with the bowler hat and cane, once entered a contest to see who looked most like Charlie Chaplin. He didn't win. In fact, he didn't even make the finals. Talk about awkward. Imagine being so iconic that you can't even pass for yourself. The city of Portland almost had a completely different name. It came down to a simple coin toss. One guy wanted to name it Boston. The other said Portland. The coin flipped. Portland won. If it had landed the other way, we'd all be talking about Boston, Oregon. Wild, right? The periodic table holds all the known elements in the universe, but it's missing one letter. J. Yup, there's no element with that letter anywhere. It's like the letter J never got invited to the science party. Every other letter made it, except for the poor, lonely J. In baseball, striking out means you're done. But why do they use the letter K to represent it? Turns out the letter S was already taken for something called a sacrifice, so the K had to step up. Now, every time you see a big K on the board, blame the alphabet shuffle. Golf balls have tiny little dents called dimples, not just for style. Those dimples actually help the ball fly farther by cutting through the air better than smooth ones. It's like giving the ball tiny wings made of science. So next time you see a golf ball, thank the dimples for the distance. Cows aren't just mooing for fun. They've got built-in GPS. When they eat or rest in fields, they almost always line themselves up with Earth's magnetic north and south poles. Nobody knows exactly why, but they act like fluffy living compasses. Maybe they're tuned into something we humans forgot long ago. President Chester Arthur didn't just dress sharp, he was obsessed with clothes. He owned 80 pairs of pants and sometimes changed them multiple times a day. It was like he ran a fashion show at the White House. Imagine a president with a walk-in closet bigger than most living rooms. Look inside a cow's mouth and you'll notice something weird. There are no upper front teeth, just a big gummy space. They use their bottom teeth and a tough upper gum to pull and chew grass. It's like nature gave them a built-in lawnmower without bothering with the top blade. For 20 years, Neptune stole Pluto's thunder. Even though Neptune is usually farther from the sun, their orbits crossed, and Neptune came closer for 2 full decades. Pluto just backed off like a quiet kid on the playground. It won't happen again for a long, long time, more than 2 centuries. Ancient Egyptians were amazing at mummifying bodies, but their brain removal method, not so elegant. They stuck a hook up the dead person's nose, wiggled it around, and pulled the brain out in bits. It was messy, kind of gross, and totally genius for the time. Mummy making wasn't just an art, it was surgery. Cats live for naps. They spend nearly 2/3 of their lives sleeping. That means if a cat lives 15 years, it sleeps for 10 of them. They're like fluffy, purring sleep champions. While we hustle through our day, cats are on nap number 5, dreaming about mice and sunny windowsills. Switzerland might be known for mountains, watches, and banks, but chocolate is their real passion. People there eat more chocolate than anyone else on Earth. Every person gobbles up so much each year, it's like they've got a golden ticket to a permanent candy factory. Sweet tooth? Move to Switzerland. You'd think camels are the toughest animals when it comes to going without water, but giraffes and even tiny rats can outlast them. That's right. Those tall, elegant snackers and sneaky little scurriers can survive longer without a drink than the desert's most famous beast. It's always the quiet ones. If this fact flipped your brain upside down, write useless genius why in the comments. I want to see how many of us are shaken. The little dot on top of the letter I actually has a name. It's called a tittle. Not a dot, not a speck, not a blob. A title. It's the tiniest part of writing, but it's still got its own name. Next time you write an I, you're actually putting a title on it. Buzz Aldrin did something no one talks about on the moon. He peed there. Right after stepping onto the lunar surface, he used a special bag in his spacesuit and made history in the weirdest way. First man to leave a footprint, and the first to answer nature's call on the moon. Jellyfish are mostly water, almost all of them. Their bodies are so watery, if you scooped one up, it'd feel like a squishy water balloon. They don't have brains or bones, yet they've been floating around longer than dinosaurs. They're like living jello blobs with a passport to every ocean. The Amish might not use modern tech like we do, but that doesn't mean they've skipped computers altogether. Some special computers are built just for them, with no internet, no music, and no videos. Just the basics. It's like a digital horse and buggy, simple, quiet, and still smart in its own way. Most animals don't fly, but bats do. They're the only mammals with real wings, flapping through the night sky like tiny furry superheroes. While others crawl or climb, bats zoom above, snatching bugs midair. Next time you see one, just know you're watching a creature with the ultimate biological upgrade. A cat doesn't just guess if it can squeeze through a gap, it uses its whiskers to measure. If the whiskers fit, the cat fits. But if those little hairs brush the edges, it knows it's too tight. It's like having built-in measuring tape growing out of your face. Cats are clever like that. Every single day, millions of people across the United States grab a bite at McDonald's. That means out of every 100 people, around 7 are eating there daily. Fries, burgers, or milkshakes. It's like a daily ritual for a big chunk of the country. Fast food, more like a fast obsession. It's so bizarre, it's worth saying twice. Buzz Aldrin really was the first person to pee on the moon. He used a special bag inside his spacesuit right after stepping onto the lunar surface. Alongside footprints and science, he left behind one more human signature, proof that nature calls, even in space. Bank robbers seem to have a favorite day of the week, Friday. Half of all robberies happen just before the weekend. Maybe they're hoping to cash out early or just riding that Friday energy. Either way, if it's Friday and you work in a bank, you might want to double-check those vaults. In a quiet town in India, a man named Sathar Adhur has a library so small it could fit in a shoebox. Literally. He owns thousands of the tiniest books on earth. Each one's a masterpiece you need a magnifying glass to read, a whole universe of stories you could carry in one hand. Touch your fingers and notice something. That one right next to your thumb, your index finger, is the most sensitive of them all. It picks up details better than any other finger. That's why we use it to point, press buttons, and poke when we're curious. It's your fingertip MVP. Ever seen a word with 3 double letters in a row? Bookkeeper and bookkeeping are the only ones in the English language that do it. 2 O's, 2 K's, and 2 E's. lined up like alphabetic twins. It's rare, it's weird, and it's oddly satisfying to look at. Venetian blinds might sound like something from Italy, but they were actually invented in Japan. Sometimes names are just fancy disguises. So next time you tilt those slats to block the sun, remember you're using Japanese genius, not Venetian design. Lightning doesn't just flash, it blasts through the air at temperatures hotter than most things on Earth. One strike can reach over 50,000 degrees. That's like touching a piece of the sun with your bare hand. You don't just dodge lightning, you stay miles away and thank the sky when it misses. Before the world saw Saddam Hussein as a dictator, a small church in Detroit saw him as a generous donor. After giving a huge donation, they actually gave him the key to the city. No one knew the kind of leader he'd become. History is full of moments that don't age well. In a war filled with guns and bombs, one British soldier fought like a medieval warrior. Nicknamed Mad Jack, he brought a longbow and a giant sword into battle. While others fired bullets, he fired arrows. He even took out enemies with that bow. History remembers him as the last of the battlefield archers. Look at the moon tonight. That glowing circle in the sky. It's always showing us the same face. The moon spins in perfect sync with its orbit, so the far side stays hidden like a cosmic secret. No matter how often you look, you're always seeing the same old familiar face. Sigurd the Mighty thought he'd won a battle after chopping off his enemy's head. He tied the head to his saddle and rode home. But one of the head's teeth scraped his leg, and the wound got infected. The dead man got revenge after death, without lifting a finger. The past was brutal. Honey is like edible treasure. It's the only natural food that never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey from ancient times that are still perfectly good. No mold, no stink, just sweet, golden perfection. Forever. Nature really knew what it was doing with this sticky miracle. Ever wonder what M and M in M&M stands for? It's not just candy talk. It stands for the inventors, Mars and Murray. These two teamed up to create the colorful chocolate everyone loves. So every time you pop one in your mouth, you're actually biting into their shared dream. Celery might not taste exciting, but it's secretly a fitness trick. It takes more energy for your body to chew and digest it than the calories it gives you. So the more celery you eat, the thinner you become. It's like food that works against your appetite. Crunch your way to slim. Australia is a land of deserts, coral reefs, and kangaroos, but no active volcanoes. It's the only continent without one. Every other place has fiery mountains ready to blow, but not Australia. Down under, things stay cool on the lava front. Even the Earth's explosions avoid it. Toronto's got a street that just keeps going and going. It's the longest in the world. Called Yonge Street, it stretches nearly 2,000 kilometers. That's like walking from one city to another, and then back again. It's not just a road, it's a journey, all by itself. In Amsterdam, if someone dies with no family, no friends, no one to mourn them, a poet is assigned to write a poem and read it at their funeral. It's the city's way of saying, you mattered. Even if the world forgets you, the words will remember. The Spanish national anthem is powerful and dramatic, but it has no lyrics, just music. No words to sing along with. It's like a song that leaves you feeling something without saying anything. Spain decided that silence can roar just as loud as words. Before TikTok and YouTube, the first version of the internet was called ARPANET. It was created by the US military to help scientists talk to each other. It started as a research tool but turned into the global web of memes, videos, and cat pics we know today. Iguanas have a bonus eye. Yup. Besides the two normal ones, there's a third one on top of their head. It doesn't see images, but it senses light, like a sun detector built into their skull. Not exactly X-ray vision, but still a superpower in the animal kingdom. The fortune cookie, that crispy treat with a surprise inside, didn't come from China. It was born in San Francisco. Yup, it's an American invention, dressed in Chinese flavor. So when you crack one open and read your future, thank the West Coast for the tasty prophecy. Back in the late 90s, hackers discovered that typing the word could unlock any Hotmail account. Suddenly, anyone could read your emails just by typing 2 silly letters. It became the biggest internet security disaster ever at the time. Imagine logging into someone else's inbox with a shrug. Every insect on Earth, whether it crawls, flies, or buzzes, has 6 legs. Ants, bees, beetles, grasshoppers, all of them follow the six-leg rule. No more, no less. It's like nature decided on a standard model and stuck to it for every bug in the club. Insect design? Always triple pairs. In Washington, D.C., two embassies, Slovakia and Slovenia, keep getting each other's mail. So once a month, they meet up and exchange letters like confused pen pals. Even official buildings mix them up. If countries were classmates, these two would keep switching seats because their names sound way too alike. In Eastern Africa, you can sip on beer made from bananas. That's right, those sweet yellow fruits get mashed and brewed into a bubbly drink. Imagine a fruity soda with a kick. It's local, traditional, and totally unexpected. Who knew bananas had a party side? African gray parrots are brainy birds with big vocabularies. Some of them can learn over 200 words and use them in the right situations. They don't just copy, they understand. Having one is like living with a tiny feathery friend who never forgets what you say, and sometimes throws it back at you. Giraffes have the ultimate tongue trick. It's so long they can lick their own ears clean. That purple tongue stretches over 1.5 feet, like a built-in cleaning tool. No need for Q-tips when your tongue can reach your ear canal. Flexible and fabulous, giraffes are nature's yoga masters. Before Australia got its current name, it was called New Holland. Explorers gave it the name after landing and thinking it reminded them of Holland. The name didn't stick forever, but for a while, that wild land of kangaroos and deserts had a very Dutch title on the map. Back in the Revolutionary War, people used to hang certain clothes on a line to send secret signals to soldiers. A simple shirt or towel could mean attack tonight or wait until dawn. Clotheslines weren't just for laundry. They were an early version of spy texting. Talk about old school code breaking. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog isn't just a weird sentence. It's a clever one. It uses every single letter in the alphabet. People use it to test typewriters, fonts, and keyboards. It's like the ultimate workout sentence for your fingers, with every letter doing its part. The Grand Canyon is so massive, you could dump close to 1 trillion footballs into it and still have room left over. It's one of Earth's biggest holes, so deep and wide that it swallows mountains, rivers, and imagination whole. It's not just a canyon, it's nature's stadium. All that blinking you do in a day? If you added it up, you'd spend about 30 minutes with your eyes completely shut. That's like a half-hour power nap, but in blink-sized bits. Your eyelids are doing a silent little dance all day long, and you don't even notice. Your foot has 26 bones packed inside it. That's more than some entire animals. Every jump, step, or dance move you do is powered by a mini skeleton working hard inside your shoe. So, if your feet are tired, just remember, they've got a lot of pieces doing overtime. Most of your brain isn't made of thoughts, it's made of water. Nearly 4/5 of that wrinkly powerhouse inside your head is H2O. That's why staying hydrated helps you think clearly. Your brain is basically a high-powered water balloon filled with ideas. There's a little village in the Netherlands where no cars are allowed, only boats and bridges. Giethoorn is a place where roads don't exist, and people travel by floating through canals like they're in a real-life fairy tale. It's so quiet, the loudest thing you'll hear is a duck quacking. Canadians are so polite that they had to make a law about it. In 2009, the government passed a rule saying that saying sorry doesn't mean you're guilty. It just means you're Canadian. They're probably the only people who apologize before you bump into them. Back when dinosaurs stomped the earth, the moon was still having tantrums. Volcanoes up there were erupting like fireworks in the sky. Imagine giant lizards looking up at a glowing moon that was literally exploding. The universe was wild back then, lava on land and lava in the sky. The periodic table has all the elements scientists know, but there's one letter that never made the cut. The letter J doesn't appear anywhere on it. It's like every other letter got an invite to the party, and poor J was left outside scratching its head. One quiet trait of really smart people: they get annoyed easily, but they usually keep it to themselves. Instead of arguing over nonsense, they just stay quiet and save their brain power for something better. It's like using silence as a shield against stupidity. Smart minds don't waste time. The more you see someone, the more you tend to like them. Even if they're just in the background, your brain starts thinking, hey, they're familiar, they must be nice. It's called the mirror exposure effect. Basically, your brain is a fan of reruns, and that includes people's faces. Only a small slice of the population is left-handed. but those who are know the struggle. From smudging ink while writing to wrestling with scissors, lefties are living in a right-handed world. But they've got their own creative spark. Lefties might be rare, but they're definitely mighty. If babies could pick their birthday month, they'd choose August. That month has more births than any other. Hospitals get super busy, and cake makers are on overtime. Maybe it's the summer sunshine or just a calendar coincidence, but August wins the baby lottery. In 2006, a sneaky Coca-Cola worker tried to sell company secrets to Pepsi. But instead of biting the bait, Pepsi told Coke what was happening. Sometimes, even soda rivals play fair. It's like Batman warning the Joker, respecting the chaos but drawing the line. Facebook once made two robot chatbots to talk to each other. But soon, the bots started using a strange language no human could understand, one they invented themselves. That freaked out the scientists and they pulled the plug. It was like watching robots go rogue in their own secret code. If one fact made you feel smarter today, that like button isn't a button. It's your IQ going up one notch. In 2010, Nintendo trademarked the phrase, "It's on like Donkey Kong." What started as a fun saying in video games became legal property. So next time you shout it before a challenge, remember, you're quoting a gorilla icon owned by a gaming giant. Ever yelled shotgun to grab the front seat? That phrase actually came from the old Wild West when a guard rode next to the stagecoach driver holding a shotgun to scare off bandits. Hollywood loved the drama, so the name stuck. Now, calling shotgun is just the fun no-guns version of riding up front. When Leonardo DiCaprio shouted, "I'm king of the world," in Titanic, that line wasn't in the script. He made it up right there. And it became one of the most iconic moments in movie history. Sometimes, pure emotion beats perfect writing, and Leo shouted his way into every heart on earth. That long noodle on your plate, if you're holding just one strand, it's not spaghetti. It's a spaghetto. That's the real singular form. Sounds fancy, right? Like one lonely noodle showing up to a pasta party before the rest arrive. Italian grammar makes food even tastier. There's a real difference between a coffin and a casket. Coffins have 6 sides and taper toward the feet, kind of like an old vampire box. Caskets are rectangular and sleek, more like furniture. Next time you see one in a movie, you'll know what kind of box someone's sleeping in. After the Fukushima disaster, Japan turned to an unexpected hero, sunflowers. These cheerful plants can absorb radioactive material from the soil. People started planting them by the thousands to help heal the land. Turns out, flowers can do more than look pretty. They can clean up after Earth's biggest messes. Leaving a party without saying goodbye? In English, that's called a French exit. But in France, they call it leaving like the English. Each side blames the other for being sneaky. It's a polite standoff where no one wants to admit they're the rude one slipping out the door. Cutting down a cactus in Arizona can land you in prison for over 20 years. That's because certain cacti are protected, like endangered trees. Chop one down, and the law doesn't go easy. So when you see a cactus, keep your hands off. Those spiky giants are under serious protection. The smiling, chubby statue often called Buddha? That's not the real guy. The actual Buddha was a skinny, peaceful monk who practiced deep self-denial. The round-bellied version is a symbol of joy and wealth. But he's a totally different person. One found enlightenment, the other found dumplings. In the U.S. state of Colorado, there's a volcano that's still technically alive. It hasn't erupted since the time the Egyptian pyramids were being built, but it's not extinct. It's just sleeping. Like a giant under a mountain-sized blanket. Someday it might stretch and yawn lava again. The very first movie to ever have its own soundtrack was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Before that, movies didn't sell the music separately, but when Disney dropped those cheerful tunes, people couldn't stop singing them. It changed cinema forever, and made dwarves the first musical hitmakers. If you point your car key remote at your head, the signal travels farther. Sounds like science fiction, but it's real. Your skull and brain act like a mini antenna, boosting the signal. So next time your car is too far to unlock, just use your head, literally. Elephants in Africa are starting to be born without tusks. It's nature's desperate way to protect them from hunters, since poachers often kill elephants for ivory. But losing tusks also hurts the animals, since they use them for digging, defense, and eating. It's evolution reacting to human cruelty. The giant anteater has a wild scientific name, Myrmecophaga tridactyla. That's just fancy Latin for anteater with 3 fingers. It sounds like a wizard spell, but it simply describes what the creature does. Munches ants and uses its triple claws to dig them up like a bug-loving excavator. Long ago, cigarette filters were made of cork. That brown speckled design you still see on filters today? It's just for looks. Even though they're now made of different materials, the cork pattern stuck around, like a fashion statement from the smoky past that nobody bothered to update. In one unbelievable horse race, a jockey had a heart attack mid-race and died, but the horse kept running and crossed the finish line first. The rider became the only person in history to win a race after death. It's tragic, eerie, and totally legendary all at once. At birth, a baby panda is so tiny, it's smaller than a mouse. Just imagine something that'll grow into a big fuzzy bear starting off smaller than a candy bar. Panda moms must be shocked every time. That tiny thing came from me? Yep, nature's full of surprises. Iceland is big on volcanoes and ice, but there's one thing it doesn't have: trains. No subways, no railroads. People there drive, fly, or ride buses. So if you ever visit, don't expect to hop on a train. It's the land of fire and ice, but not locomotives. The biggest prime number ever discovered has more digits than there are people on Earth. It's made by taking the number 2 and multiplying it by itself almost 60 million times, then subtracting 1. You wouldn't even be able to read it out loud. It's like a number with no end. Smoking doesn't just mess with your lungs, it also weakens your night vision. It reduces the oxygen in your blood, and your eyes need that oxygen to see well in the dark. So, next time someone lights up, they're not just risking coughs, they're dimming their own world after sunset. A mysterious man named Forrest Fenn hid a treasure chest worth over $1 million somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. He left clues in a poem and dared people to find it. Adventurers have searched for years, dreaming of gold in the hills. The treasure? Still out there. Maybe. The lead singer of The Offspring isn't just a rock star, he's a brainiac. While touring with the band, he also went to school and earned a PhD in molecular biology. One day he's on stage, the next he's in a lab coat studying cells. That's real-life double major energy. In New Zealand, a 15-year-old built the world's largest grand piano. Not a team, just one teen with a dream. It stretches longer than most living rooms and plays music as bold as the kid who built it. Proof that age doesn't limit greatness, only imagination does. This mega piano is over 18 feet long and has 85 keys, just a few short of the normal 88. But don't let that fool you. It still roars like thunder when played. It's like a gentle beast made of wood and wire, built by teenage hands that wanted to shake the world. During World War II, a Polish doctor pulled off a genius trick. He faked a typhus outbreak so Nazis wouldn't come near. The disease was scary enough to make them leave town, and that act of brilliance saved thousands of people. His fake sickness became a real rescue. After the movie Scream came out in the late 90s, people got spooked. It showed a killer calling victims before striking, and audiences freaked out. Caller ID sales in the United States tripled almost overnight. Turns out, nothing sells safety like a horror movie. A long time ago in Greece, people loved their dogs so much, they invented spiked collars to protect them from wolf attacks. These collars weren't for style, they were for survival. When wolves went for the throat, they got a mouthful of spikes instead. Dogs wore armor like little furry warriors. Jack Daniel, the man behind the famous whiskey, died because of a stubbed toe. He kicked a safe out of frustration, broke his toe, and ignored it. That toe got infected, turned into blood poisoning, and took his life. Moral of the story? Don't kick metal boxes barefoot, even if you're a legend. There's a video game where patience beats power. In Metal Gear Solid 3, you can defeat a tough boss not by fighting, but by waiting a week without playing. He literally dies of old age. Or you can trick the game by changing the date. Best boss battle for lazy geniuses. The Roman and Persian empires fought one war that lasted over 600 years. They battled through generations, across centuries. Kids were born, raised, and died while the same war still dragged on. It wasn't just history, it was eternity in armor. The longest grudge match Earth has ever seen. Right-handed people usually chew their food on the right side. Left-handed folks go left. It's like your chewing follows your writing hand. Your body picks a side and just sticks with it. You didn't choose the chew life, your brain did. A cucumber is basically a water balloon in vegetable form. It's made up of almost nothing but water, over 95%. That's why biting into one is so refreshing. It's not just a salad topper, it's edible hydration. Vanilla isn't just for cookies and ice cream. It also shows up in chocolate. During chocolate making, vanilla is often used to smooth out the bitter flavors. So even though you taste chocolate, there's a secret helper hiding behind the scenes. Vanilla, the invisible sidekick in your candy bar. Lemons might taste sour and intense, but they secretly hold more sugar than sweet-talking strawberries. That tangy blast tricks your tongue while hiding a sugary secret. So when you pucker up from a lemon, just know it's packing sweetness beneath the sour. Way before paper money or shiny coins, people in Siberia used blocks of tea as cash. Solid tea bricks were worth real value. Want a horse? Pay in tea. New boots? Tea again. It was currency you could sip later. Delicious economy. Believe it or not, Arizona once had camels, real wild camels roaming the desert. They were brought for a military experiment, then set loose when the project flopped. People were like, "Wait, is that a camel?" And the desert answered, "Yep, deal with it." New York was the first state in America to demand license plates on cars. Back when roads were just dusty tracks and engines sounded like sneezes, they made sure every car had an ID. The law rolled out before speed ever did. In Miami, someone thought, hey, what if rollerbladers need cash too? So they built the first ever ATM just for people on wheels. No need to take off your skates, just roll up, grab your cash, and glide away. Banking with style. Hawaii is so far out in the Pacific that it runs on its own time zone. While most people are hurrying through Monday, Hawaiians are still enjoying Sunday brunch. It's like living in the past, with better sunsets and volcanoes. Oregon has more ghost towns than anywhere else in the U.S. These towns were once busy with miners and settlers. Now they're just empty buildings echoing with wind and whispers. You could spend a whole vacation talking to ghosts, and maybe they'd even answer. In 1968, a young Elton John was struggling deeply with his mental health. During one of his lowest moments, he attempted to take his own life in a quiet and indirect way. But thanks to an unexpected visit from his close friend Bernie Taupin, he was found in time. That moment became a turning point. Taupin didn't just help save Elton's life. He would go on to become his lifelong songwriting partner. Together, they created some of the most iconic songs in music history. If you translate the name Jesus directly from Hebrew to English, you get Joshua. The name went through a language game of telephone. Hebrew to Greek, Greek to Latin, Latin to English. That's how Joshua became Jesus, and the world never looked back. Ed Sheeran once flew to Los Angeles without knowing a soul, just a redhead with a guitar and a dream. By chance, actor Jamie Foxx saw him perform and offered his studio and a bed for 6 weeks. That's how random kindness became a launching pad for global fame. Service animals didn't start with modern therapy. They've been helping people for centuries. The first official training happened in Germany during the First World War, but mentions of helper animals go all the way back to the 1500s. Dogs were saving the day before anyone gave them a vest. The guy who voices SpongeBob is married to the woman who voices Karen, Plankton's computer wife. They've been together since the 90s. So every time they argue in the show, it's actually a husband and wife having a cartoon-level disagreement at work. Love and laughter, animated. An Italian banker named Gilberto Basquera pulled off something bold. Over 7 years, he secretly shifted money from rich clients to help poor people get loans. He never took a dime for himself. A real-life Robin Hood with spreadsheets instead of arrows. Octopuses and squids may be squishy, but they've got beaks. Sharp ones. Their mouths are made of the same stuff as bird beaks and fingernails. Keratin. They use those beaks to bite, crush, and tear their prey. It's like hiding a parrot's mouth inside a puddle of slime. Half of all the gold ever mined came from one place, a plateau in South Africa called Witwatersrand. Imagine half the world's treasure coming from a single stretch of land. Gold rushes, fortunes, empires, all because of a golden ridge in Africa. Let's make a deal. I bring the mind-blowing content, you hit that button, so we both win. Fair? In 3 U.S. elections, 1992, 96, and 2008, every major candidate was left-handed. It's like the lefties took over the ballot box. Maybe left-handed people just have a better handshake, or maybe they're secretly training for the presidency their whole lives. In Switzerland, owning just one guinea pig is illegal. They believe guinea pigs need friends to avoid loneliness, so the law says, if you have one, you must have at least two. It's the only country where guinea pig friendships are protected by law. Furry justice. The first big gold rush in America didn't happen in California. It started in North Carolina. People forget that the East Coast had gold fever first. Before the West was wild, folks in the Carolinas were already digging dreams out of the dirt. The name Chicago actually came from a stinky plant. Long ago, the area was full of wild garlic that gave off such a strong smell, locals called it Chica-Aqua. The city that grew from those fields kept the name, so yep, Chicago is basically named after smelly garlic. Tasty history. The Chicago River used to flow into Lake Michigan, but then people decided to reverse its flow, on purpose. Engineers finished the project in the early 1900s. The river literally turned around and started flowing away from the lake, one of the biggest plumbing jobs in history, and nature just went with it. The reason Mars looks red is because its soil is rusty, like literally rust. There's iron in the dirt that reacted with oxygen, just like a bike left in the rain. So the entire planet turned into a dusty red wasteland. Mars, the biggest rusty ball in the solar system. Sound moves slowly through air, but when it passes through steel, it races like a rocket. It can travel more than 10 times faster, zipping along at incredible speed. So if you ever tap a steel pipe, remember that your knock just traveled like a sonic jet across the metal. Believe it or not, you share about half of your DNA with bananas. That doesn't mean you're turning into one, but it shows how all life is connected. Deep inside, every living thing runs on similar blueprints, whether it's building a person or a peeled yellow snack. The U.S. state closest to Africa isn't Florida, it's Maine. If you draw a straight line from the east coast of the U.S. to the western edge of Africa, Maine wins the race. Geography likes to play tricks on maps, but the compass tells the truth. An octopus doesn't just have one heart, it has three. Two pump blood to the gills, and one sends it to the body. But here's the twist. When it swims, that third heart actually stops. So for an octopus, exercise literally breaks their heart. No wonder they prefer crawling. You know that sharp pain you get when you eat ice cream too fast? That's not just a headache. It has a scientific name. Sphenopalatine ganglioneuralgia. Try saying that with a brain freeze. Basically, your nerves are yelling, hey, too cold, too quick. The king of rock and roll had a middle name you probably don't know. Aaron. Not Aaron like most people think, just Aaron. That little twist in spelling made Elvis even more unique. He didn't just sing different, he even spelled different. Goldfish have super eyes. They can see light far beyond what humans can, both infrared and ultraviolet. That means while you see regular colors, they're seeing the world in glowing patterns. Their aquarium is like a light show we can't even imagine. Your tiniest bones aren't in your fingers or toes, they're in your ears. These little guys help you hear everything from whispers to thunder. They're smaller than grains of rice, but they make music, voices, and laughter possible. Quiet power lives in tiny places. Nearly all of the food eaten around the world comes from just 12 plants and 5 animals. That's it. Out of all the crops and creatures out there, most meals come from a tiny slice of life. The planet's dinner menu is more limited than you'd expect. Elephants are huge, powerful, and strong, but there's one thing they can't do: jump. Their legs just aren't built for it. While other animals hop and bounce, elephants keep all 4 feet on the ground. Nature gave them wisdom and memory, but not springs. When Star Wars first came out, it didn't blast into thousands of theaters. It opened quietly on just over 30 screens, but people lined up around the block. Word spread fast, and soon it became a galactic sensation. From tiny launch to universe-sized success. The famous phrase, "keep calm and carry on," was created by the British government during wartime. It was meant to stop panic and keep people steady. Posters went up reminding everyone to stay strong. Today, it's on mugs and memes, but back then, it was a quiet battle cry. Apple once wanted a piece of land for their big new data center, but a couple who lived there said no. Instead of fighting, Apple handed them nearly $2 million. Way more than the land was worth. That patch of grass turned into golden ground. That couple had lived on the land for over 3 decades. Apple came knocking with plans and pressure, but the couple stood firm. So Apple offered a giant pile of money. The couple didn't back down. They were just paid to walk away. A peaceful standoff with a rich ending. Tirana, the capital of Albania, is like many European cities, but there's no McDonald's in sight. Only one other capital can say the same: Vatican City. So if you ever visit Tirana, don't go looking for fries under golden arches. You'll have to try the local food instead. In old school England, people used to paint their teeth black to show off wealth. Why? Because sugar was expensive, and only rich folks could afford enough to rot their teeth. So, blackened teeth meant you were rich enough to ruin your smile. Strange, sweet bragging rights. Joe Arity had the mind of a child, but he ended up on death row. He went to the gas chamber, smiling, holding a toy train. Years later, they realized he was innocent. People still call him the happiest prisoner, proof that even tragedy can carry moments of grace. Brazil has the largest Japanese population outside Japan. Over 1 million people with Japanese roots call Brazil home. They brought sushi, traditions, and their language, creating a unique blend of cultures. Far from Tokyo, but still close in spirit. There's a Starbucks you'll never find on Google Maps. It's inside the headquarters of America's top spy agency, the CIA. No names on the cups, no phones allowed, and no talking about your job. Secret agents need caffeine too. They just drink it undercover. The creators of the Flintstones tried to sell their cartoon for 8 weeks before someone finally said yes. Then it made history as the first animated show to air during prime time. Before The Simpsons, before cartoons took over TV, it all started with a caveman and a yabba dabba doo. Back in the 1300s, 2 Italian cities fought a war over a bucket. Yes, a bucket. Soldiers stole it from a well, and the other side got so mad they declared war. It ended with thousands dead, and 1 wooden bucket as the prize. Human history is weird. Here's a twist from the history books. Abraham Lincoln's son was once saved by the brother of John Wilkes Booth, the man who assassinated Lincoln. Imagine being rescued by the sibling of your future worst enemy. Life has strange loops that even Hollywood wouldn't dare to write. You just swam through an ocean of madness, and if your brain's still floating, good. That means you're not average. But here's the twist. This wasn't even the deep end. What's coming next will punch through your comfort zone. So don't scroll. Don't think about it. Just move, hit it, or miss it forever.